Hi students, coming to the next topic is the protista. See, in the last class, whatever the kingdom Monera is there, okay, we discussed about the kingdom Monera and the subtypes within the kingdom Monera. So in that case, we discussed about five kingdom classification. According to the five kingdom classification within Monera, there is an Archaebacter is there, Eubacter is there, right? Next one is the Mycoplasma is there, right? And next one is the Actinomycetes is there, right? These are the types of the Monera subtypes. One of the students asked me, the question is, sir, in Mycoplasma bacteria, no cell wall, then there is no mode of action of penicillin. Then what are the antibiotics which have the capacity to kill Mycoplasma bacteria? Answer is very simple. Remember, antibiotics are majorly targets either maybe the cell wall, maybe the DNA replication, maybe the RNA synthesis, maybe the protein synthesis. So here cell wall, the penicillin act on the cell wall. So here cell wall is absent. In Mycoplasma bacteria. Then the DNA replication is blocked by some of the antibiotics. RNA synthesis is blocked by some of the antibiotics. Right? We know in the last class we discussed about the streptomycin. It's act on the ribosomes, blocks the ribosomes. Right? Some are act on 30S subunit, some are act on the 50S subunit. We know about that ampicillin, rifampicin. Rifampicin act on inhibition of RNA synthesis. So we'll discuss in the further classes the types of antibiotics and the mode of action. But initially here I like to give the just introduction for it. Some of the antibiotics are act on ribosomes, inhibits the protein synthesis. Some of the antibiotics are act on the RNA synthesis process, blocks the RNA synthesis. Some of the antibiotics act on DNA replication process. So that is about the other than penicillin, different types of antibiotics are there. Streptomycin is there, ampicillin is there, right? So different types of antibiotics are there, rifampicin, right? So that is about that the antibiotics which are act on other than cell wall. So coming to this class, we discussed about the protista. So the main characteristic feature of the protista, these protista mainly performs the photosynthesis. See, most of the protista organisms performs the photosynthesis. And the important point is here, we know all these are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Right? And which are having cell wall present, right? And which are having cell wall is present, right? Nuclear membrane. See, the protistans which are performs the photosynthesis process, especially which are having chlorophyll A pigment. And these are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Cell wall present, nuclear membrane is present. See, the classification of the protista is not properly takes place within the five kingdom classification. The classification of protista not properly takes place within the five kingdom classification, because we know the classification based on nutritional classification. See here chrysophytes are there. Chrysophytes performs the photosynthesis process. Dinoflagellates performs the photosynthesis process. And euglenoids, these are strange, which are exhibit both autotrophic and endotropic. When light is available, that time these are photoautotrophs. When light is not available, that time these are heterotrophs. So both types of mutations are exhibited here. And these are saprophytic organisms. Some are saprophytic and some are parasitic. So what I am telling, these are heterotrophs, These are also heterotrophs. Both these are heterotrophic organisms, right? So that is about the chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, and the euglenoids, and the slime molds, protozoans. See what I given the statement. The protista organisms are not classified properly because see the first three types are first two types are autotrophic organisms, and last two types are completely heterotrophic organisms, and the intermediate one is there is an autotrophic and heterotrophic organisms. Autotrophic and the heterotrophic organism. See means which are exhibit the mixotrophic nutrition. Mixotrophic nutrition. See this is the wide range of the organisms and shows their metabolisms, nutritional classification. So that's the reason why this classification is not considered as the proper, means the protista classification is not considered as the proper classification. Right? That is about the first point. So these are the characteristic features of the protista organisms, and one by one we'll discuss about each subtype. Here the very first one is the chrysophytes. Remember chrysophytes, which are nothing but this is just an introduction. Again we'll discuss the detailed structure of the chrysophytes and the total points regarding to the chrysophytes. This is the just introduction regarding to the protista organisms. Chrysophytes, which are the best examples are diatoms. These are the diatoms. And next one, chrysophytes, which are having cell wall, right? And chrysophytes, which are having soap box-like structure. Chrysophytes are having soap box-like structure. The chrysophytes are having soap box-like structure, right? And the chrysophyte cell wall is made up of with the silica. Chrysophyte cell wall is made up of with the silica, right? And these organisms, entirely regarding all organisms, exhibit sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. All protista organisms, this point is related to total all protista, right? Exhibit the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, and these also have the capacity to produce the zygote. So chrysophytes, diatoms, which are having cell wall made up of the silica, which are having soap box-like structure, sexual and asexual reproduction is executed. There is a zygote formation stages, right? That is about the chrysophytes. Remember, most of these chrysophytes float on the surface of the water. Most of the chrysophytes float on the surface of the water, right? See, which shows the passive movements, because which are not having the flagella, which are moving passively. Whatever the air currents are there, water currents are there, by the water currents, which are moving from one place to the another place, right? And the chrysophytes, which having chlorophyll A and performs the photosynthesis process, right? That is about the chrysophytes. And coming to the next one is the dinoflagellates. See, we know the meaning dino. Here, dino. So what is dino? See, dino is nothing but whatever that dinoflagellates are there. The dinoflagellates body is divided into two parts. The body is divided into two parts. No flagellates. Two flagellas are present. The body is divided into two parts. So these are called as dinoflagellates, right? These are the very we are seen so many times when we see the National Geographic channel. Okay, some of the shows during the night time, some organisms within the oceans which exhibit the different colors of the lights. See, especially these organisms are the dinoflagellates. See, the dinoflagellates are very interesting and the beautiful organisms because which exhibit different types of colors. There is a blue color is there, red color is there, orange color is there, yellow color is there. So different types of colors exhibited by the dinoflagellates. And the dinoflagellates also having the chlorophyll A. The dinoflagellates also having the chlorophyll A, and which performs the photosynthesis process. Which performs the photosynthesis process. Right? That is about the dinoflagellates. Right? See here the cell wall is made up of with the stiff cellulose plates. Here the cell wall is made up of with stiff cellulose plates. Stiff cellulose plates. Right? That is about the dinoflagellates. Right? Again, we have the detailed discussion regarding the dinoflagellates and the chrysophytes. Each one take one class, chrysophytes one class, dinoflagellates one class. We will discuss it definitely. And coming to the next one is the euglenoids. Remember, these are the strange organisms because which shows the different nutrition. That one is the mixotrophic nutrition. Mixotrophic nutrition. So what is mixotrophic nutrition? Remember, these organisms, presence of light, act like an outputs. Absence of light. Okay, this one is light is available. Here, light is not available. Absence of light. These are act like an heterotrophs. Heterotrophs. So these are the heterotrophic organisms. Heterotrophic organisms, which these are heterotrophic organisms, and these are autotrophic organisms. Presence of light, autotrophic organisms. Absence of the light, heterotrophic organisms. Both are exhibited. That's the reason why which are called as mixotrophic. Mixotrophic nutrition or mixotrophic organisms. The best example is the euglenoid. Remember, here cell wall. Within the euglenoid, cell wall is absent. Cell wall is absent. Instead of cell wall, there is a protein-rich layer is present. Protein-rich layer is present. Right? So within the euglenoid, cell walls are absent. Instead of cell walls, there is a protein-rich layers are present. That is about the euglenoids. Remember, euglenoids also having that chlorophyll J, right? Like higher plants, right? And next one is the slime molds. Remember, here slime molds. These are heterotrophic organisms. These are heterotrophic organisms. And also remember, most of these are saprophytes. And the slime molds are not having cell wall. When the favorable conditions are there, at that time, which forms the aggregated structures. So within that aggregated structure, many number of nuclei are present. Inside, many number of nuclei are present. Right? So these structures are called as plasmodium. The aggregated structures are called as plasmodium. Right? So the slime molds during the favorable condition, many number of nuclei are produced. All these nuclei are covered by the single membrane. That aggregated structure is called as plasmodium. Right? Most of the slime molds are saprophytes. That is nothing but these are heterotrophs. Within the heterotrophs, these are saprophytes. Okay? And coming to the last one is the protozoans here. The protozoans which are not having the cell wall. So here, cell wall absent. In these organisms, cell wall is absent. Right? And the protozoans are classified here based on the locomotory organs. See, some of the organisms are having plasma, some of the organisms are having plasma. These are called flagellated protozoans. See, the best example is here. See, these organisms are having flagella is the locomotory organ. The best example is trypanosoma. Don't bother about examples. Okay, definitely again we have explanation regarding to all these. Right? Again, we'll discuss about that examples also So flagellated protozoans here, which are having flagella. The best example is the trypanosome. And ciliated protozoans are there. Ciliated protozoans which are having cilia is the locomotory organ. Cilia is the locomotory organ. See, the best example is here paramecium. The best example is the paramecium. So flagellated protozoans, trypanosoma, ciliated protozoans, here paramecium. And we know about the amoeboid protozoans. Amoeboid protozoans. So how these are moving? By the pseudopodia. By the pseudopodia. See, that one is nothing but false feet. False feet. Amoeboid protozoans, which are having pseudopodia is the locomotory organs. These are also called false feet. Antamoeba histolytica is the best example. Antamoeba. Right? So amoeboid protozoans, false feet, right? Which are also called pseudopodia. That is nothing but the example is here, Antamoeba. Last one is the sporozoans. See, which are not having any locomotory organs. These are very strange organisms which are not having any locomotory organs. Then how these are moving? By the support of the vector, by the help of the vector, by the help of the vector which are moving, by the help of the vector which are moving. So sporozoans which are not having locomotory organs, which are moved by the help of the vector. These are shows the negative effect, that is nothing but notorious effect of the human beings. Negative effect or notorious effect of the human beings, because which are causes the different types of diseases. These are causes the different types of diseases, right? So that's the reason why the sporozoans are shows the negative effect or notorious effect on human beings, right? That is about different types of protista organisms. There is chrysophytes are there, dinoflagellates are there, euglenoids are there, right? Slime molds are there. The first two, these two shows the autotrophic nutrition, right? And the center one shows the mixotrophic nutrition, and the last two shows the heterotrophic nutrition, right? And cell wall is present here, cell wall is present here, cell wall is replaced by rich protein layer, right? And cell wall is absent here, cell wall is absent here, right? That is about the protista and introduction of the protista. Within that protista, we discuss the types of the protozoans also. Flagellated, ciliated, amoeboid, right? And last is the sporozoans. We will discuss one by one in the next class. Next class we will discuss about